Hi all, how are you? I hope you all are safe at home. Home, stay safe. Today in this online session, I am again back with few topics of lesson reproduction in organisms. The topics of today's discussion are lifespan, reproduction, types of reproduction, Oestrous cycle and menstrual cycle. What is lifespan? Do you know? It is the period from birth to natural death of an organism. The death should be natural, not accidental. Different organisms have different lifespan. Some have very short and some have very long lifespan. Let us see the lifespan of some organism. Lifespan of elephant is 65 years. Rose is 4 years. Dog is 20 to 30 years. Butterfly 1 to 2 weeks. Crow 15 years. Banana tree 10 years. Cow 20 to 30 years. Parrot 140 years. Crocodile 60 years. Horse 60 years. Fruit fly, that is Drosophila, 10 to 12 days. Rice plant 3 to 4 months. Tortoise 100 to 150 years. Banyan tree 200 years. Mayfly 1 day, that is only 1 day. You will see here, mayfly only 1 day. Wheat plant 4 to 5 months. Sequoia regia 3000 to 4000 years. Eagle 90 years, man 100 years, cat 28 years, rat 5 years, lion 30 years. After seeing, you will find that some organisms have very short lifespan, that is of 1 day in case of mayfly, and some have very long, that is Sequoia regia 3000 to 4000 years. Observe the given figure and find out the lifespan of this organism. Next topic is reproduction. This topic is not new for you, as you have read in previous classes starting from class 7th. 7th, 8th, then in 10th also you read about the topic. It is a biological processes by which organisms give birth to their young ones. For example, dogs will give rise to puppies, cat will give rise to kitten, horse will give rise to colt, monkey will give rise to her young ones, etc. These offspring again grow, mature and ready to produce new offspring of their own kind. Now the question arises in our mind that why reproduction is necessary. It is necessary for continuity of life. It helps in transferring genetic trait, genetic characters, and also helps in increasing the number of species. Now let us see about the types of reproduction. Broadly speaking, reproduction is classified into two major groups, that is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. First of all, we will discuss about asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction does not play any role in evolution of species, as offspring are produced from body cell of a single individual. Here there is no fusion, no fertilization. So, in case of plants, the somatic cell is responsible for producing the individual. Somatic cell may be of root, stem, leaf, etc. In asexual reproduction, only mitosis takes place. Next topic is about sexual reproduction. In contrast to asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction plays an important role in the evolution of species. Because in sexual reproduction, offspring are produced from fusion of male and female gamete of two parents and they are of opposite sex. The sex cell or gametes are obtained from male and female sex organ of flower or another organism. In sexual reproduction, both meiosis and mitosis takes place. Meiotic division takes place during the formation of gametes in diploid organism, whereas mitosis division takes place for growth and development after fusion of gametes. Let us see about types of asexual reproduction. As we have seen earlier that in asexual reproduction, single individual is responsible for producing offspring. So there is no morphological and genetical variations. They are identical and exact copy of their parents. Thus they are called as clone. One question it is always asked in exam that why sexual reproduction is considered as clone. So what will be the answer? Do you know? It is because the offspring produced by a sexual reproduction is morphologically and genetically identical. Asexual reproduction mostly takes place in unicellular organism or simple organism. First type of asexual reproduction we have to study here is about binary fission. Binary fission takes place in unicellular organism, which involves division of nucleus, that is karyokinesis, and division of cytoplasm, that is cytokinesis. As you have read earlier that binary fission occurs in protists and monerans like bacteria, amoeba, paramecium, euglena. Here, parent body divides into two identical cells called daughter cells, which further grow into adult. Here only mitosis division takes place and also considered as clone. This is the figure showing binary fission in amoeba. You may observe here that first the nucleus elongates, then division of nucleus and cytoplasm takes place to form two identical daughter cells. Second type of asexual reproduction is budding. In budding, a small protuberance arises from parent body and this protuberance is called bud. This bud may arises in unicellular organism like yeast or in multicellular organism like hydra. Bud always appears exogenously, that is outside the parent body, and they get nutrition from the parent body. When it mature, then it get detached from the parent body and grows as independent individual. Sometimes the birds do not get detached from the parent body, like in yeast, and they form colony. This is the figure showing budding in yeast and budding in hydra. Another method of asexual reproduction is about zoospore conidia and gemmules. In case of algae, the asexual reproductive structures are formed, that is zoospores, and in fungi, asexual reproductive structures are called conidia, and in sponges, asexual reproductive structures are gemmules. Let us see what are the differences between zoospores and conidia. Zoospores are motile asexual reproductive structure, whereas conidia are non-motile. Meaning thereby is that flagella is present in zoospore, whereas in conidia it is non-flagellated. Zoospores are formed endogenously, that is inside the body of an organism, but conidia is formed exogenously, that is outside the body of the organism. Zoospores are formed in algae like Chlamydomonas, whereas conidia is formed in fungi like Penicillium. Thus, we have seen that there are lot of differences between zoospores and conidia, and these differences between two are also very, very important, as always asked in exam. But both have some similarities also. So what are the similarities? Both conidia and zoospores are asexual reproductive structures and are formed from a single individuals. In this figure, it is shown about the zoospore of Chlamydomonas, conidia of Penicillium, and gemmules in sponges. Now our next topic is about vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation takes place only in plants by vegetative parts of the plants. Here, new plants are obtained from any vegetative parts, that is, what are the vegetative parts? Root, leaf, stem, branch of the plants. The runner, rhizome, sucker, tuber, offset, bulb, these are the different structures which are responsible for giving rise to plants, and hence they are called as vegetative propagules. So what are the vegetative propagules? Through which the vegetative reproduction takes place. Vegetative propagation is also considered as asexual reproduction, and plants obtained by this method are also called as clone. In vegetative reproduction, there is no chance of having new species. Why? Because there is no change in the genetic constitution. So no variation is seen here. Some example of vegetative propagation are eyes bearing buds at the node in potato, buds present at the node in sugarcane, node in the rhizome of banana, axillary bud at the node of rhizome in ginger, tuberous root in dahlia, bud present in the notches at the margin of the leaf in bryophyllum, offset of water hyacinth, bulbil of agave. Terror of Bengal. Have you heard the name of this plant? That is water hyacinth. It is an aquatic plant and it is a very good example of vegetative propagation. It propagates by vegetative means at a very high rate and spread quickly over the surface of water body in a very short span of time. Due to this, it causes depletion of oxygen in water and finally causing death of fishes and aquatic animals. The given figure shows about the vegetative propagules in angiosperm. It is about eye of potato, rhizome of ginger, bulbil of agave, leaf buds of bryophyllum, and offset of water hyacinth. Now it is about sexual reproduction. Unlike asexual reproduction, sexual reproduction involves formation of gametes, fusion and fertilization of gametes, and formation of zygote. Here, two parts of opposite sexes are involved. Zygote undergoes several changes that give rise to individual. The period of growth before an organism can reproduce sexually is called juvenile phase or vegetative phase. So, unless and until the individual reaches the reproductive phase, only the sexual reproduction takes place. And appearance of flowers on the plants indicate that the parent has entered into reproductive phase. So, it is the sign of reproductive phase in case of plant. In case of animals, they may lay eggs or give birth to young ones. Those who lay eggs are called oviparous, and those who give birth to their young ones, they are called viviparous. In non-primates like cows, sheep, dog, tiger, the reproductive period is restricted to a small period during the year. So, they are called as seasonal breeders. Why they are called as seasonal breeders? Because the reproductive period is restricted to a small period during year. Whereas in primates like human being, monkey, apes, the reproductive period is not restricted, but it is active throughout their reproductive phases. So, they are called as continuous breeder. Now, the last topic is about oestrous cycle and menstrual cycle. Let us see what are the main differences between these two cycles. In case of non-primates, whatever the cyclic changes occurs during sexual reproduction is called oestrous cycle. Whereas the cyclic changes in primates during sexual reproduction is called menstrual cycle. In non-primates it is oestrous cycle, and in primates it is menstrual cycle. In oestrous cycle, menstrual flows does not occur, whereas in case of menstrual cycle, menstrual flow occurs. The oestrous cycle, slough of endometrium is reabsorbed, but in menstrual cycle, the slough of endometrium comes out in the form of bleeding, that is called as menstruation. Examples showing oestrous cycles are, as we have seen earlier, cow, sheep, rat, deer, dog, tiger, etc. Whereas animals having menstrual cycles are humans, apes, monkeys. So, children, this is all about your today's session. Thank you, and for any kind of doubts, please write your question in the comment section.